YouTube Nation, Main Event TV, aka me TV, aka Round 1 Fight. And I told y'all before, I have not yet begun the fight, but it seems like the fight is here now. And I want to start off with one Capcom. Now, understand, I took the holiday hiatus or whatever, so things happened during that time. And I want to speak about this because for those who don't know, Capcom came out and said that they need your help. They literally said in a survey, they need your help. Now, before I even get on the survey, a lot of you guys, I said before, Capcom always does these surveys. They really don't care, all right? And I will agree, Capcom doesn't need your help. This is just their way of reassuring what you want. That's all, so they know how to give you stuff, even though they already know how to. And if you don't believe me, the link will be in the info bar for you guys with Ace Attorney 2, because they go on to say, you know, well, we know you want it, but you should buy this first before getting it pushed over. Yeah, so they want you to buy something else before you get the other Ace Attorney. Look, Ace Attorney fans are going to buy Ace Attorney stuff, so I don't even know why you even had to say that. But anyways, I want to go on this because in the survey, and the link will be in the info bar for you guys, and what they were saying in the comments, I was very disappointed with gamers. Because for everything that I and others have done here on YouTube to spread the word, this was a perfect opportunity to do something, all right? And I'm disappointed that it's failed because if you see all the comments, all it is I want this game, I want that game, I want this DLC, I want that DLC. And that's what it's about. It's about digital distribution and DLC. Now here's the thing. Instead of asking for games, because don't get me wrong, we all want games. I get it, okay? I understand there's a demand for certain things. However, you're not going into the meat and potatoes of things. This was the perfect opportunity for Capcom to come down to our level, because that's where they treat us, down, all right? They think of us as lower people. They do. Don't mean, let's not get it twisted here, all right? To come down to our level and be even. And what I mean by that is, you could have you could have gotten them to open the books and change some policies with their digital distribution. That's what you could have done, all right? We already know there's no reason for Always-On DRM. We know that with digital distribution stuff. We know that, all right? There's no reason for you to be nickeled and dimed. There's no reason for you not to have the same rights when you're buying digital items as opposed to retail items. If you felt you've been misled on something in a product, you should be able to get your money back within a certain grace period. You get what I'm saying? These are things that need to be addressed, not I want this game. And it seems like no gamer stood up and said that. Every time this happens, you complain and you complain about DLC, you complain about digital distribution because apparently it's not yours, it's only licensed, all right? It's not yours. And you fight all the time saying it is yours, and then you have all those people who defend them, but whatever. And then you have all these complaints, and then when you have a chance to change something, you don't. I don't get it. And then here's the thing. As soon as Capcom said, because like I said before, they don't need your help, but they're throwing it out there. We need your help. As a collective, you should have came out and said, we'll give you suggestions, but we're not going to give you anything until you meet us at least halfway. And no one did that. I'm very disappointed to see that. It pains me to see it. Because, like I said, as much as I can shout to the rooftops about this stuff and get the company's attention, and others can as well, and then we leave it in your hands, and this is what you do. You've got to be kidding me. Why did you take this angle? I mean, why was that your first thought process? There's no reason for you to have DLC, but we want our games to keep going. Look, understand, back then, we got complete games, and we never complained. Ever. Because they were hardworking, they put into it. Now you get patches every 5 seconds. First day patches. Look what's happening with Tekken. Was it Street Fighter vs. Tekken? Now they're going to revamp the entire system. You want to learn to play it. Alright? Yeah. Because they rushed the game. That's simple. Instead of taking their time. And that's what bothers me. I know there's going to be people coming in and try to defend it. You can't defend it. You just can't. You can't. They've already made the necessary moves to put this in process so that they can revamp the entire gameplay system. That's admitting there's problems. I don't get it. It's just sad to see. It really is. And this is what I mean about sometimes you have to take a backseat and let people who are willing to fight for this type of stuff do their thing instead of just trying to troll them. I don't understand that. If you're not willing to stand up, then stay in the background and let us do our thing. All right? But if you think you know it all, if you think you know everything, if you think you can do this, then by all means, step up. I'm waiting for you to step up. I want you to step up. That's the entire thing. That's the entire point of this. But people just say, oh, he's just hating or whatever. Whatever, it's stupid. All right? Just like I told you, this is beyond wanting games at this point. This is about being treated like a respectable consumer. That's what it's about. If they cannot do that, then you don't need their products. Because I put it like this: if one company fails, another one will come up. That's what the rise of competition is. That's what happens. But it seems like nobody wants to do that. It's just sad. It really is. And speaking of sharing and DRM and stuff like that, I want to talk about this a little more because Sony, for those who don't know, Sony has decided, I don't get this, has decided to patent, a system where they are going to block all used games for their next system. Now look, before we get even started, before people start yelling at the rooftops, let's understand this. There's a lot of people online in forums, if you haven't read them, that are saying, well, you know, Sony does this all the time. They've done it back in the PS2 era. Look. Understand, that was a different era, all right? In this era, in this generation, we see companies take leaps and bounds, take advantage of consumers, all right? They have done things I never thought they would do until you start looking at the track record, all right? And then it starts coming true. So I'm not trying to hear, they won't do that. We know them too well. You do not know Sony, all right? You don't know any of these companies. I understand you want to put your trust in them, or, you know, you're going by your personal experience with them, but you have to look beyond that. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it shouldn't even be a notion for it to happen. And this is the problem I have with it, because I put it like this: gamers, you gotta step up and you gotta fight about it. I'm not saying, oh, go over there and troll them and go over there and harass them until they take it down. No, small steps. What you should be doing is going over there and putting a squeeze on them so that they announce what they're gonna do with it. At the very least, get Jack Tretton, because remember, Jack Tretton said, oh, we don't want to get rid of used games. I'll put the link in the info bar for that one. They're a part of our game, you know, our game economy. We wouldn't get rid of used games, and now we have this. I told you before when he first announced it, when I did a video on it, what did I say? I said, I don't trust him. Because he's looking, understand, Sony is going to protect themselves. I understand that. But the way they go about it is wrong. I believe the gaming anarchist said it best about treating us like criminals. I'm sorry, but I can't even back up my hard drive on my PlayStation still. It still can't. Because they think I'm going to hack. I don't do that stuff. I can't do that stuff. I just want to back up my system and back up my files so that your PlayStation doesn't fail me. That's sad. And anyone who has Demon Souls, or whenever at the time it happened, when everyone's getting yelled at to death, you know what I'm talking about. This is sad. There's no reason for it. There's just not. I'm sorry, but I cannot defend this. I can't say this is going to be okay, it's going to be alright, just trust Sony. No. At this point, when things like this come down the pipe and you start reading this information, you know what that means? You should be at a precaution where you're ready to strike. Knock this down before it goes any further. Because if we take the route that we took this generation, a lot of gamers saying, don't worry about it, we'll just let it go, we'll just ignore it. Like we've seen everything else with online passes and DLC and everything else, and now it's become a monster. Now they give out awards for DLC. Crazy. Like I said, we sat by and we gave them control to see what they can do, and they took advantage of it. It's now time to stop this. New year, you know what I mean? Like, let's do something. Let's do something. Don't just sit back and take it laying down. I've never seen so many gamers in my life take things laying down like this. Never. Ever. And yet, when you say that, people get mad at you for telling them that. I don't take things laying down. Okay, well then do something. I don't have time to do it. Really. Really. But everyone else can have time to just step up and speak about it. You've got to be kidding me. Now's the time to come together. It's not the time to fight. Last year was all about fighting. All right? It was all about fighting. This year should be the time to get together and do something for one focus, one cause. Just one. If it's for one thing this year, just one. All right? But it seems like nobody wants to do that still. Everyone's too busy worried about, oh, well, I don't have to worry about it. It's not going to affect me. It's going to affect you in the long run. And you should know by now that just because it doesn't affect you doesn't mean it doesn't affect other gamers. You have to start looking at the bigger picture here. You just have to. I don't understand why it's okay for gamers to push their fellow gamer away. I don't get that. This is absolutely wrong. It is. If you think that taking away the used game market is going to help you, no, it's going to bottom out. Every other market has a used market. Look at it. And I know a lot of people like to bring up the car thing. No, you got houses. I mean, look, anything with the product pretty much has a resale value. You cannot take a consumer's right away to resell. You cannot do that. It's ridiculous. And it's wrong. But it seems like people are okay with letting these companies run amok for some reason. They think that they know them on such a personal level. You have to understand, in the real world, that does not fly.
Dodson, we've got Dodson here. Nobody cares. Nice hat.
You don't know them. They don't know you. They don't come over your house and play games with you. You haven't talked to them on the phone personally and things like that. Social media is one aspect, but that's nothing. We've seen people put on personas for that. It's nothing. Understand that you can't let these guys get away with it. For some reason, in this industry, fans feel it's okay for companies to be above the law, that other companies have to follow. No. They have to follow the same rules. You can't let your fandom blind you. It's okay to be a fan and also be objective. It is. But it seems like as soon as you're objective, somebody calls you a bunch of names. And one of you guys brought this up in my Spider-Man video not too long ago. You said, you know, if this was the gaming industry you were talking about, they'd call you a whiner and everything else, but not in the comic industry. And you're right. You're absolutely right. Because that industry knows better, and every other industry knows better. Does it happen every once in a while? Isolated situation? Yes, it does. But the backlash is so strong, they back down. That's what happens. But it seems like these days, it happens constantly in the video game industry. All right, just not too long ago, the WarZ developers apologized to the fans and said that, you know, they were relying on arrogance. Why would you do that? Why is that? Why do people get caught up so much in this? I don't understand that when it comes to developers. These are the people that you're supposed to be fans of, and they're letting you know, hey, we're going to act any way we want, and you're going to love it because you're going to buy our games. That is the wrong precedent to set. It's sad. I appreciate them apologizing and admitting it, but you've got to be kidding me if you relied on arrogance that entire time. That's wrong. Absolutely wrong. That's not what gaming is about. You know, it's every, dare I say, leaderhead or figurehead or whoever's popular at the time, every time, you know, they do an interview or whatever, it's full of arrogance. There's a number of people, and we've talked about this throughout the years of me doing videos, there's a number of developers that just do this for no reason. It's not called for. And it gets people mad, and then when they go and curse them out, they say, oh, it's happy to be back, or hey, you know, I expect this is what I'm talking about. You're bringing it on yourself. That's what you're doing. And then when people like me step up and I say something, I'm automatically wrong. How is that? How is that possible? Because I want people to act accordingly, and then when I give them a dose of their own medicine, they get mad? What? Like, I just don't understand this. You just can't let these guys run amok. And speaking of running amok, EA, and we'll talk about this, EA has defended their always online DRM for SimCity. Now, I want to talk about this a little bit because it's amazing how these companies, and I talked about this not too long ago, last time I did a gaming video, how they're never around when you really need them. When mass media comes out and calls us a bunch of killers and violent video games are linked to whatever, and they're never around then. But when it comes to their product, they can step up and say, this is why we're defending it, and this is our statement, and you can say it's fair or it's BS, and then they'll say, well, we don't care what you think. It's ridiculous. There's no reason for this. This is, like I said, this is not what gaming is about. This does not stop. This is not anti-piracy. It's not. This is just their way of trying to make money. EA already came out themselves and said with their online passes that, hey, you know, it's about, you know, we found new money. And on top of this, EA, check this out. EA is now cutting servers for past games. What did I tell you about server rollovers? I talked about this 2 years ago, and everyone called me a liar about it. All right? And now, once again, it's proven. They're taking old games, and I'll put the list, what's the list? The link will be in the info bar for you guys, for it, the list of games that are being cut. It's like NHL 11, NBA Live, and stuff like that. They're cutting stuff, and it's not stuff from like 6-7 years ago. It's not, all right? We're talking 2011. Stuff is getting cut off. You have to understand, people keep saying, a lot of messages came to me saying, they better not cut off the game I just bought or whatever. Understand, when you sign up for Origins, there is a 6-month grace period. EA says they give you 6 months of online play, and after that, they have the right to roll their server over to somewhere else, to another popular game or an upcoming game coming out. That's what they do. They don't want to pay more money for servers, even though they're already paid for, they just keep rolling them over. That's what they do. And when I tried to tell people that before, people said I was a liar. And now we're seeing it. The server rollover is in effect. It goes to show you you're paying for a game for 6-month grace period to play online. So what's the point of having an online pass if they're going to cut the servers in 6 months? What's the point? Exactly. They just want more money. Just want to guarantee that new sale. That's all it is. Because GameStop or whoever doesn't want to play ball with them when it comes to the resale value. It doesn't hurt their profits. No, it doesn't. Like I said, you know how much these guys made last year? You know, come on. Don't tell me that they're hurting for money. I'm not trying to hear it. So, yeah, none of these companies are. It's just sad that people keep falling for these type of tactics. And when we try to educate you, we're looked at as the bad guys. It's sad. That's why this year I'm going to try to have more fun instead of just doom and gloom. Because it seems like people just can't handle it for some reason. I keep telling people it's time to grow up, and you say, well, I'm grown, I'm big and bad, and then when I give you the truth, you get mad. And then you say a bunch of names, and I say this is why you're not respected. And it's the same cycle over and over again. It gets boring, it gets old, it's stupid. It really is. But this goes to show you, gamers, you have to step up. You won't have, if the mass media, I put it like this, if they get control of it, they'll take your industry down. And we've already seen not too long ago when it was in Connecticut. All right, don't mind my phone, but in Connecticut, what happened? They just all of a sudden start collecting video games and destroying them. What does that solve? That doesn't bring anybody back. It doesn't solve anything. Does it give you peace of mind? No, because it had nothing to do with it. You're too busy collecting video games and destroying them instead of, how about this? Collecting up or rounding up all the people with mental problems and getting them help. You're going the wrong way about things. It just seems like people are just prone to this hysteria. Stop and think. That's all you have to do. It doesn't make sense. And converse amongst each other on how things can get better. The video game industry isn't giving you that. They'll hang you out to dry. They don't give you that. The media isn't giving you that. But it's individuals like me or everyone else on YouTube that are trying to spark this conversation to get you to think about these things. But for some reason, we're wrong for wanting to open your mind up. To second guess, hey, wait a minute, what's going on here? Let's see, there's more to it. We're wrong for that. They just want you to stay stupid and just buy games. It's not about that. It's not. I'm done, man. I'm done. This is sickening. I'll talk to y'all later. Next week we'll talk. I'm out.